Well, hello, everybody. I'm Kevin the Comic Doctor coming to you with a the Batman discussion. Yes, Matt Reeves' Batman dropped yesterday. I was among the few, I guess, or the many, I should say, who went and saw it on opening night. And, well, you know what? I figured I'd make an event out of it. And not only will I discuss the film today, this is an open spoiler discussion. So if you don't want to hear anything about the movie, I probably won't go into crazy detail, but I might slip up here and there and give some spoilers out. So if you don't want to hear those spoilers, you might want to take off. Come back towards the end of the video, because at the end of the video, I'll be giving out this awesome copy of Brave and the Bold 197 and a 9.2. That's going out at the end of this video. So stick around to the end for your chance to win this. Again, if you don't want to hear spoilers, maybe take off, come back in about 30 or so minutes, and hopefully we'll be closer to giving that prize away. Now, I'm going to go over this and give some details about what I thought about the film, and then I'm going to go to the chat section. And for those of you that have seen the film, I know some of you have seen it already. Some of you already texted me and emailed me saying you've seen the film and you've got some of your own opinions you'd like to share. Well, this is the time. Well, that'll be the time during our chat session to discuss that. But let's get to it right away. First of all, and I wrote stuff down. I don't want to read what I wrote. I just keeping it there as a point of reference. But Matt Reeves does create a film that, is inspired by not only a lot of Batman comic books. We finally get a Batman that really, truly is a detective, right? He is searching for evidence. He's sifting through, crime scenes, trying to find any clues to help him find what it is he's looking for. You know what? Maybe I won't go into too much detail, just in case people haven't seen it and you do want to listen in. What I also liked about this is that, I'm a big film buff, as you know, and obviously Matt Reeves is also drawing inspiration, not only from the comic books that he obviously loves, but also from other movies that he has loved. You obviously see lots of David Fincher's Seven in there, with the Riddler going about doing his business, and also the gloominess of Gotham City reminds me of Ridley Scott's Blade Runner. We just finished watching Blade Runner in my film class, and I go and see the Batman, and I'm seeing all this, a lot of rain, so much rain. I felt like I needed to have an umbrella when I was watching this movie. Also, this is a neo-noir movie, guys. This is film noir, at its best. Matt Reeves is obviously hearkening back to the film noir time and including lots of little bits and pieces of film noir, all the way down to like the narration. You hear Batman narrating at the beginning of this movie, and I'll tell you, that was probably, when this movie opened, the first 10 or 15 minutes of this movie was my favorite part of this movie. Batman narrating, talking about the city of Gotham, talking how it's lost its way and what he can do to help the city and what he's doing to help that city. And it's all done through narration. Again, calling back to the comic books, because in the comic books, oftentimes you'd read about what Batman was thinking, what he was going to do, what his options were, whatever, and they did that in this movie. So I really like that. Of course, along with the film noir tropes, you have lots of shadow, lots of contrasting darks and lights, that sort of thing. And also we have, of course, a femme fatale in Catwoman. I understand that Colin Farrell, who played the Penguin, also wanted to be smoking throughout this movie. They wouldn't let him do it. I think they really could have used some smoke in this movie as well. Would have helped set off that film noir feel, But anyhow, that's in a nutshell, that's kind of what Matt Reeves was going for in this film. He certainly drew from a lot of inspiration to create a very unique Batman movie, one that we've not seen like this before. Now, I'm not telling you whether I've liked this film or did not like this film. I will leave that towards the end as well. Let me just tell you what I think first before I give you my thumbs up or thumbs down or kind of thumbs in the middle. Also, so this movie takes place, obviously, I was supposed to transition to, I have all these slides I was going to present for you. Here's my Matt Reeves slide, where him working on the film. But then we also have our backdrop, Gotham City. Again, we've seen Gotham City before. We've seen the very stylistic Gotham City given to us by, Tim Burton's version from the 1980s. And then, of course, we see a very gray, dark version with Christopher Nolan's version. And this version is more, I guess it's more along that vein. But again, this movie was all the neon lights and the artificial lights from this movie really did remind me of Blade Runner. I'll say that again. Lots of neon, lots of artificial light that illuminates the sky. There's a picture of it right here, as you can see, and it's kind of, that's the Times Square in Gotham City, or Gotham Square. All the advertisements and LED screens and LCD screens, what have you. And again, a dark city, illuminated only by artificial means, it seems. And it's also the rain constantly pounding the pavement, pounding the city streets and the buildings, really gives us a sense of the city has got a lot of sins it's trying to wash away, man. This city is being the gods above are trying to clean Gotham City, because that rain is coming down at all times. In the finale of this film, there is the Riddler blows up these dams, I guess, or these and the water from the Gotham Harbor pour into the city, and the city is flooded with more water. So even more water. It's a great backdrop for this film. Obviously, I wouldn't say it's a super far cry from the Chris Nolan Gotham City. Again, the only difference I see in this one is a lot more color from the artificial lights, again, the neons and the LEDs, like I said. Now, there was also a lot of talk about this guy right here, Robert Pattinson, who plays Bruce Wayne, Batman. People were really, it reminded me of when Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker. Everyone was up in arms. How dare they cast this guy as a Joker? No one can replace Jack Nicholson, blah, blah, blah. Same thing happens here, Even Michael Keaton, actually, when he was cast as Batman back in the 80s, he received a bit of flack for that, too, because he was, Michael Keaton is not the tallest man in the world. And a lot of people didn't think he had the stature of Batman, right? So in this film, then we have Robert Pattinson. Most people know him from Twilight, and everyone thinks back to that. How can they give this iconic character of Batman to Robert Pattinson? But my gosh, if you've not seen what else he's done over the years, then you're not really well read on his filmography. I mean, the last thing I saw prior to this was Lighthouse, and oh my gosh, what a performance in that. This guy, and when I saw that film, I had no doubt that he would bring the goods to Batman. So I thought he did a fantastic job in that role. He didn't put on any weird, voices like Christian Bale did, which I always found to be very distracting. There was none of that going on. It was a very down-to-earth version of Batman. Again, we don't see lots of gizmos, and he's got a few little trinkets he uses, but nothing like we've seen before. Probably the most realistic Batman we've seen yet, which I again appreciate. I like that part of it. Then we also have Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Wow, she looks the part, boy. She looks the part, straight out of the comic books. Her Selena Kyle was fantastic. My favorite scene with her was when she was undercover to Falcone's. Falcone has this underground bar, I guess you could say, or disco or what have you, and all of Gotham's elite are misbehaving there. So Batman sends her in undercover with Batman tech to kind of video survey what's going on in this place. And her time in there was awesome. She was excellent. I also liked, I just like her camaraderie with, and her connection with Bruce was interesting. It wasn't, I think everybody wants to see that connection, that sexual tension between the two, or that, because they are obviously in the comic books, they're lovers, right? And these two have been together for years and years. I honestly didn't get that connection from these two. Now, whether it was Pattinson's standoffish nature as Batman, or whatever, when these two part at the end, I didn't feel heartbroken. There was no passion between these two. They again, these two both looked fantastic in their roles. Their connection to each other, though, came across more like partners, like work partners. They have a job to do. That was kind of the impression I got from it. Then we have where is it? Right there. Then we have, of course, Paul Dano as the Riddler. Paul Dano, probably one of the most talented actors working in Hollywood today, who hasn't gotten an Academy Award yet, I think. He's an excellent actor. When I found out he had the role of the Riddler, I really liked the choice. I thought he can play crazy. He can play subtle as well too. And I really liked him in this role. He comes across like when he's wearing the glasses, and he's wearing, as you can see in this picture right here, he's wearing that kind of green army jacket. He reminds me of he had the thick glasses on. He kind of reminds me of a John Hinckley type, you know, and I loved it. Very disturbing. And when he gets angry or he gets anxiety or he gets anxious in this movie, he shrieks. And then he's breathing through that mask. It starts off, the whole movie starts off with him breathing like really disturbing breathing, you know, as he was kind of figuring out who he's going to kill first or go after first, just to set his plan in motion. And he does a fantastic job of that. And when he's unmasked at the end too, again, he looks like just a regular dude, but he had his eyes, he's not there. He's these cold eyes, and what a fantastic job he does. It was quite enjoyable to see him in that role. His interrogation scene at Arkham Asylum at the end, when Batman confronts him too, just the sounds he makes and the way he speaks, just excellent. An excellent portrayal of a new portrayal of the Riddler, a far cry from Jim Carrey's Riddler and a far cry from the Riddler from the 1966 Batman. That is for sure. Far more disturbing and real, and again, much appreciated because of that. Now, let's move on to some of the subsidiary characters, or the secondary characters. We got Jim Gordon here. Jeffrey Wright, I like him. I like him a lot. Great actor. I loved him in Boardwalk Empire. I was excited when he was given the role in this film. He didn't, I don't know what I write here. I said, he didn't come across as smart as Batman. And, you know, Batman didn't come across that smart to me either, to be honest with you. You know, Alfred seemed to be a little smarter than the Batman. That's for sure. And Jeffrey Wright also just kind of didn't hit a home run for me in this one. And I much preferred Gary Oldman's Gary Oldman's version of Gordon in the Christopher Nolan trilogy, right? He seemed to be much more active and much more proactive. This version of Gordon just seemed to be kind of in the right place at the right time. He called Batman, they go off together, but he didn't really add much to it. I didn't find he did. So yeah, did I like the way he looked in the part? Yes. Was I excited that he got the part? Yes. But did I think he was an active player, like a real integral part of this story? No, I did not. And that was kind of, I didn't like that too much. And I also didn't really care. And also the next one would be Andy Serkis as Alfred. Again, happy they cast him. He looked the part. He sounded great as Alfred. Not enough for Alfred to do in this movie, except get hurt. And then, you know, show us, I guess, a human side to the Batman, but I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it at all. And I'll come back to this in a second, because this is where I think the movie faltered. And again, I'll come back to that in a minute. Let me just go over my next character who I really, really liked was Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I loved this rendition of the Penguin, just like I loved Paul Dano's Riddler being down to earth, could be a real person. Same with this character of Oswald Cobblepot. I loved this character. Colin Farrell, his prosthetics looked great. He was sleazy and he was dark and you didn't want to cross him. He's kind of terrifying looking, actually. And he made a great gangster. And this is, I think, the best version of the Penguin I've ever seen. I loved it. And when I heard they were doing an HBO Max spinoff of this, I was kind of like, well, what are they going to do with him? And even when I saw him in the trailers, I wasn't too excited, but I loved it. I actually also loved that car. We see a bit of that car chase scene in the trailer and in the previews, and it was another one of the high points of this movie was that car chase. It was visceral, it was real, and I loved it. It was great. And I look forward to seeing what Colin Farrell's going to do next with the Penguin. That is for sure. I don't have a screenshot of John Taturo as Falcone, but he was all right. I mean, he played a pretty big part in this movie too. He's the Penguin's boss. He's the mob boss in this. And I think John Taturo, he's been around for so long, and we've seen him in so many different roles. More often than not, John Taturo plays a comedic character or dark comic relief. The Big Lebowski, he's playing Jesus or Jesus, they calls himself, and what have you, I didn't mind him in the role. It didn't take me out of the film or anything, but I think bringing in another actor, maybe a lesser known actor, would have been better for Falcone. That's my opinion anyway on that one. Now, what do I think of this movie? And I remember, I'm coming to ask you what you thought of this movie. If you've seen this movie, I want to ask you in a second. We're going to go to the chat in just a moment. But what did I think of this movie? I did not love this movie. I liked the movie. Would I go and see it again? No, I wouldn't go see this movie again. And I think the reason, and I wrote these things down here, I did not care about any of these characters. I don't know these new characters. I don't care about them. And one of the biggest things the job the director must do is make the audience give a shit about these people. And I think what Matt Reeves did here, he didn't give us an origin story, which again, that's fine. I don't need to see, Martha and Thomas Kent be shot down again in that alley. I don't need to see it. We all know how it happens. And that's fine. But I think what Matt Reeves' mistake was here is that these are new versions of the characters we already know. So you have to help us get to know these new characters. And one of the ways that he could have done that was showing us a much more closer relationship between him and Alfred. That I think was integral. There was a part in this where Alfred gets injured and Bruce is upset about it, or Batman's upset about it. He rushes to his side. And while it was happening, I really wasn't too concerned about it because Alfred was on the screen for like 10 seconds. I don't really know him yet. Show us some backstory with Alfred. Show Alfred raising him or having moments with, or not even raising, showing us some levity with Bruce, showing us that connection he has, even with him coming to terms with what he's doing as Batman. There's nothing there. I don't care about these characters. And that's what I was kind of struggling with last night. When I left the theater, I was like, I didn't hate this movie, but I didn't love it either. And I think the reason I didn't love it is because I didn't give a rat's ass about these characters. Selena Kyle, didn't care. Bruce Wayne, didn't care. Alfred Pennyworth, I don't care. I don't care. Think back to the other Batman movies we have gotten. If you think back to Christopher Nolan's Batman, while it has its issues, Batman Begins shows us that origin story again. Yes, we see it. But we also see him training with Ra's al Ghul, with the League of Shadows. We see this backstory and we see him, getting stronger and smarter and figuring things out. And we get to know this guy. So we want to see him succeed. We want to see him, be triumphant in the end. In this movie, we don't get it at all. We don't get that at all. And there's still ways of doing it. I mean, I talked about Blade Runner earlier. That's a film, a neo-noir film from 82. Do we care about Deckard at the end of this film? I think we do, actually. We do care about Deckard. And we don't get a lot from Deckard, from Harrison Ford's character in that movie, do we? But at the end, we want to see him and Rachel get away. In this film, I didn't care when Selena went her way and Bruce or Batman went his way. They went separate ways. I didn't care. I didn't feel worried when Alfred got injured. Again, that was a mistake, I think. I think he was depending on the fact that we knew about these characters already, and because of that, we should care about them instantly. And that is not the case. That doesn't work. And don't get me wrong, you didn't need to do a lot about that, but you need to do something with that. And with a 2 hour and 50 or 45 minute movie, you had lots of time to do something with that, and you didn't do nothing. And I'll tell you, you probably could have shaved 35 minutes off of this film, and it would have been just fine. But I don't mind a 3 hour movie if you're giving me something in that 3 hour movie. Let me grow to love these characters so that I can't wait to see them on the screen again. I really don't care if I see these people back as Batman or Catwoman ever again. And you know what? I know I'm in the minority. This movie's getting decent reviews on Rotten Tomato. People seem to like it. I just found a little bit disconnected from it. I appreciated the artistry of it. I appreciated what Matt Reeves was trying to do with this film. I just think he made a big error in not getting us to love Robert Pattinson in this character. And you can be a gloomy character. You can be a dark character and we'll still like you. But how? How? He had me the first few minutes, like I said, that narration and that first little bit where he saves that first guy. Yeah, man, I was in. But then he kind of quickly lost me, and that was a problem. Also, I mentioned earlier, there was no chemistry between Selina and Batman. There was no chemistry. I didn't feel it was like brother and sister, man. Also, why was this movie PG-13? Why was this movie PG-13? Do you think, okay, my son was beside me, he's 11-year-old. You guys have met Jackson before. He's 11 years old, sitting beside me watching this movie. And he sat through it all quietly, and I guess he enjoyed it. He said he didn't mind it. He didn't love this movie. He asking me, Dad, take me out to buy the new Batman toys. No. And no kid is going to want to buy that Riddler because that Riddler's boring looking. No offense. And even the Catwoman's outfit was pretty boring looking. This is a very grounded, down-to-earth Batman, and that is cool. But this movie was not made for little kids. And Warner Brothers and DC made a big gamble here by making this PG-13 so you could bring families to see it. But kids are not going to like this movie. It is frigging long, and an 8-year-old's not going to sit through this movie. Even most 12-year-olds are going to be bored to death in this movie. I'm sorry. So because of that, why the hell did you make this movie PG-13? Go the route of the Joker, make it a restricted film, and give us some more blood. Show us a little bit more of what that Riddler was doing to those people. They kind of alluded to what he did to his victims, but maybe, there could have been some disturbing moments there that would have been really, putting us on our, really getting a reaction to the audience. But you lost that because you can't show blood. There's no chemistry between Batman and Selina Kyle because there's no sex. There's none of it. There was like one little kiss, and it wasn't even that. A peck, big deal. I think going restricted with this movie would have been better in this case. I don't think this movie needed to be PG-13. I understand why it was PG-13. I understand, why a movie is PG-13 or why a lot of studios won't go to restricted. But I don't think this film is going to be the box office giant that, like, say, a Spider-Man No Way Home is. No ways it's going to come anywhere close to that. It's going to make money. It's going to do well, but I think it would have done better if it was more like visceral and mature and had a little bit more restricted content that would have appealed to more adult audiences. That's what I think about it. So, I give this movie like a C+, maybe a B-. I don't want to see it again. I don't want to sit through another 3 hours of that. I really don't. What do you think? Okay, let's go over to the chat and see if you guys have seen it. Oh, we got a lot of people commenting on it now. We can go over there right now, and I'll call up my chat window and see what you guys thought. I'm curious to see what you all think here. And then when we're done all this, we'll go. And remember, I'll be giving out this copy of Brave and the Bold very, very soon, friends. All right. Nick Parker was first in the house. He says, good evening, Doc. Hope you enjoyed the movie. I thought it was great playing the detective angle. I felt that Pattinson's performance as Batman was better than his Bruce Wayne. Yes, I agree with you, Nicholas, 100%. Hello from New Mexico. James is here. He says he's going to see it later, come back later because he hasn't seen the movie yet. That's okay. James Ragman. Loved it already, Doc. You saw the movie Ragman? What'd you think? Brother Kev. Hey, Doc. Kevin from Hey, Kev, how's it going? Good to see you here. Alberta into house. Kilted Corgi. How you doing, Kilted Corgi? Bad Hombre, I have not seen this movie. Is it woke? No. It's not woke. Actually, it's not woke at all. I didn't feel like it was, there was no like ulterior motives or messages that were trying to sneak in. So in that regard, Mike, it was actually okay. That was actually a good thing. Wayne, I'm in. All right, Wayne, let's hear what you think. You gave me some indication yesterday you liked it. Tell us why. Ragman hasn't seen it either. Well, I hope we're not spoiling it for you. Kilted Corgi shows the flag. Yep, that's okay with me. You're all welcome here. Akichi says, good evening, Kev. How you doing, Akichi? Wayne, did you catch the Hush reference? Batman 608. Here I come. Yes, I did get that, actually. I did catch that. Rock City Comics, LOL. You're talking Fellini noir or what, Doctor? No, just old-fashioned American noir, baby. I loved how it went in with no credits. It just started. Most films are kind of doing that now, though, Wayne, and I did like that as well. And I loved how it went right to narration. I'm telling you, as soon as they did that, I was like, oh man, they're going full in with this with the whole neo-noir thing. I love that. I love it. And just kind of, I don't know. kind of lost me. Brother Kev, how do you think Colin Farrell did? I think he was excellent as the Penguin. I really do. And there's a lot of people like that new version of the Penguin we saw on Gotham, and I watched it for a while. I didn't mind that guy's Penguin either, but this Penguin was primo. I never liked the Danny DeVito Penguin. I hated that. And of course, Meredith Burgess, in the 1960s, he was doing his thing, and that's fine too. In fact, Meredith Burgess, his version of the Penguin was kind of the way everyone saw him for many, many years. But I really, really like this realistic version of the Penguin, and Colin Farrell looked great. I wonder how, what's his name? They were going to cast, what's his name was going to be cast as the Penguin. He turned it down because he didn't want to be, the fat guy again. What's his name? It's evading me. He was in The Wolf of Wall Street. You know who I'm talking about. His name is gone. Anyways. Ragman says, Penguin, I'm going to watch tomorrow. You're going to like it. I honestly did not know that Colin Farrell, and I saw, he looked fantastic. Amazing prosthetics on there. Yay Collector. Afternoon, Yay Collector. Hey, James, how's it going? Wayne, I like the realism. He got his ass kicked and wasn't superhuman. Well, you know what, Wayne? Wasn't he superhuman, though? He got shot point blank with a 12-gauge shotgun twice in the chest, and he went down, but when he got back up, his armor was like not even, it was like mint. And there was a couple of moments in this film which were pretty unrealistic, but I mean, compared to other Batman movies, it was very, very grounded. That's for sure. Yay Collector, only in theaters or are they streaming? Only in theaters right now, Yay Collector. Michael Strathmore says, regarding Polidano, just blew my mind that it's pronounced Dano. Is it Dano? Well, it's funny that his whole name is my last name. I'm Kevin Polidano. And so whenever I hear someone talking about Polidano, I look over because it's kind of, so it's Dano. Interesting. Polidano. Nick Parker, I think I would like them to get Robin in there, only if they can get it to work for the story, but I am not a screenwriter. Maybe I'm asking for a unicorn with that request. A unicorn. Now we're talking about Blade Runner too. Who knows where they're going to go with this. They showed that little kid, but he's not an orphan. And I kept thinking that too. I don't know what they're going to do with this. They're going to make more of these, but again, if they're that long, I don't know. It was way too long. Wayne, would you sit down and watch it again? Because I'd have no interest in it. Wayne says, PG-13, my 11-year-old liked it. It seemed bored. Exactly, mine too. My 15-year-old loved it, so if it was restricted, he would be left out. Yeah, my daughter is also 15, and she liked it. And my nephew was 15, he liked it. My niece, who is 17, did not like it. And my son, like your 11-year-old, same thing. He liked it, but I could tell he was kind of nodding off there. Nick Parker says, I like that Warner Brothers takes these chances. It's something that Marvel cannot do because they have their formula for the MCU, and it works. So why would you break that formula for the MCU? You know what I mean? If you've got a formula that's working, why on earth would you break it anyways? It makes no sense to me. DC is having fun with these characters, and we're going to see Michael Keaton as Batman very soon, and we're going to see Ben Affleck back as Batman again very, very soon. We have 3 different Batman, right? And I think Marvel is going to jump in. I am certain we are going to see Tobey Maguire back as Spider-Man. If not Tobey, for sure Andrew Garfield. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those guys show up in the next Doctor Strange movie, actually. I would not be a bit surprised. Guy McLeod said that movie was legit, so I'm glad you liked it. I love that you liked it. Dr. Death, I quite enjoyed it. Reeves delivers. Yep. Michael Strathmore, obviously to each their own, but of those, there are some rough takes. This film was outstanding. Aside from the Arkham video game, this is the closest I've seen a Batman film come to the comic books. Michael, I hear that. I agree with you. As well. And again, it's all in the eyes of the beholder. I mean, we're all going to come away from movies differently. Some people are going to love them. Some are going to hate them. And I did not hate this movie. I'm not saying that, but I'm just not as ecstatic about it as many others are. Maybe the MCU formula has permeated my skin now, and I only want to see movies like that. I don't know. I saw, what do you call it? Peacemaker. I absolutely love Peacemaker, and I thought it was going to be trash, and it was excellent. Peacemaker, I thought, has been the best thing DC has put out, period. I loved it. Him and Vigilante were hilarious. I absolutely loved it. This is a very different kind of movie, obviously, but for what this movie is, I just wish it would have been restricted. I wish they would have gone darker with this filming. I want to see more of a connection between Alfred and I think that connection between Alfred and Batman and Bruce was there. I think I would have bought in more. I wanted to care about them more. I just didn't give a damn about them. I didn't. And I wasn't like, oh man, I can't wait to see it again. Or damn, I can't wait 3 years to see the next one. I'll tell you, I left No Way Home anxious to see Doctor Strange. When I saw the Doctor Strange trailer yesterday during the movie, I would have traded that in. I would have traded Batman in at that moment to see Doctor Strange first. But that being said, I like quiet movies. I like slow-paced movies. I like dark movies. I love them. But this one just, I don't know. A little bit more. I just want a little bit more from it. Wayne, Burgess Meredith, baby. Dr. Death, whoop, just jumped on me there. Where's Dr. Death says, I really got this sense at the end that he knows he needs to step up as Bruce Wayne. Hopefully we pick up a few years later. Yeah, I heard that as well. I've heard that from other reviewers as well too. He's still figuring things out. He's more of a recluse right now. Will he become the Bruce Wayne that's kind of the party animal, the womanizer, the playboy, that sort of thing? I don't know. We'll see. With Black Adam, DC Universe is going to get its deserved respect. That Black Adam, I saw the clip. That looked pretty awesome. It did. And I know Dr. Fate too. That looked pretty sick. That was very awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Jonah Hill. Thank you, Wayne. Yeah, Jonah Hill was approached to play the Penguin. He's like, why? He's very sensitive about his appearance, Jonah Hill. I've seen him in interviews and stuff. And when people kind of refer to his weight or weight loss or his being the funny fat guy or whatever, he gets very upset about that. And so when he was approached to play the Penguin, yeah, he didn't take to that too well. So he backed out, and Colin Farrell got in, and I'm glad he did. Colin Farrell did awesome. DiCaprio was in Wolf of Wall Street though. He was great in that. Wayne, you're not in live chat mode. Yes, I am. It says live chat right there. But I have to go back and read people's stuff, otherwise I don't get half of it. Mike says, I will wait until it comes to stream based on the review. Don't base it on me, Michael. I'm in the minority. I am in the minority. Most people who love Batman, all the pundits that I listen to on YouTube love this movie. Absolutely loved it. And maybe I went to school. One of my students saw it and he said, oh, Mr. Polidano, best Batman ever. I loved it. I was really excited that maybe I tend to do that sometimes. I blow these movies up. I make them so big in my head that when I get, they just don't meet my expectations. Maybe that's the problem. Perhaps that's the problem. But I would do some more research on that, Michael, because honestly, I want to see every movie in a theater before I go see it on my TV box. Every movie, especially these kinds of movies. They need to be seen in the big screen with a bag of popcorn and a big Diet Coke or whatever your drink is, or a Coke or whatever. I do not. I go to the movies, and I think I spent more money on the concessions yesterday than I did on the actual tickets themselves, and I have no problem with that. That's a part of the movie-going experience. These theaters don't make money off the movies. They make money off the concessions. I understand that. I'll pay it, and I love it, and I'll go to that theater, sit back in my chair, and enjoy the ride. I love it. So I recommend you go and check it out. And out in Port Hope, I think they do have cheaper movies like during the week. Or I heard someone told me they have like $5 Tuesdays or something like that. Go check it out then, if you can. Hey, Q, how you doing? Liam Charon says, how cool would it be if Batman showed up in the next Doctor Strange? Yeah, that'd be interesting. Here we go, right? They mentioned they had mentioned Superman in the Eternals, so they exist for each other now. Well, I know that the DC universe does exist in the minds of our Marvel Universe characters. Guy McLeod says, Bad Hombre, it is long, but it's definitely a movie theater worthy. It's good. There you go. Guy, I agree with you. Get out there and watch it. Did you catch the part when Alfred burped Gollum? No, I did not see that part. Bad Hombre, I'm very difficult to please. I even watched silent films from the 20s, so I only reserve theater watching for very special occasions. Oh, Bad Hombre. I can go to the theater every day. I love movies. If I had time, I'd go to the movies probably 2-3 times a week. I love going. Even if the movie isn't my cup of tea, even if I didn't enjoy the film, which happens quite often, but I'm still glad I had that experience. And then what my favorite part about it is debating with other people, discussing the film with those that have seen it as well. That's why I like being here with you talking about Batman, because I want to hear what you guys think. I was talking to my student today. I had to kind of not say too much. I don't want to spoil it for my other students, but I love hearing why other people like it. And hey, change my mind. Maybe I'm wrong about something. I'm not the authority on it. I'm just a person with opinions, and everybody else has opinions. And my opinion is as valid as everybody else's opinion, right? But my wife and I don't get to the movies together quite as often as we do. I usually go with my daughter or with my buddies, and then when I come home, I have no one to talk to because my wife hasn't seen them. So I'm like, honey, go see like West Side Story. I saw West Side Story. I love West Side Story, but I had problems with West Side Story as well. But she hasn't seen it yet. I'm dying. It's on Disney Plus. I'm glad so she can finally watch it. We can finally talk about it because there's parts of the movie I really enjoyed, but to me, I didn't even think the movie should have been made. But that's my opinion. All right. Michael Strathmore says, just an FYI, there was a 4-hour cut of the film. It included more Joker and more. Really? Wow. And they did show us the Joker at the end. We see it's the guy who plays. The Irish actor from Eternals who played Mordred. Is that his name, Mordred? He's a new Joker, and they only show us just a portion of his face. I don't think they should have went with the Joker. Let's go. Batman's got a huge rogues gallery. Save the Joker. He's been done so many times. Go with someone else. I heard that Matt Reeves had a really good idea for Mr. Freeze, a really cool Mr. Freeze. Try something like that. I don't know. Dr. Death says he knows the city needs Bruce Wayne now as well as Batman. I thought it was cool. Did you guys check if you know the part where at the end where the whole Coliseum is caved in and Batman's out there with the people, bringing the people out of harm's way and digging them out, and he breaks the flare, and he's the light. Batman's the light, and everyone comes to him. The symbolism of that, of Batman coming to the light, and then he leads them out of the darkness. You see him holding the flare up high. And this mass of people just follow Pied Piper, all of them following him out of them. It's like Batman is accepted, That's a different take, too, where Batman's, working amongst the police, like side by side with the police. They don't trust him or like him, but he's right there at the crime scene. That was kind of cool. And him working with the people and actually carrying people. It was kind of weird to see Batman in the light, helping people, saving people. It almost reminded me, and this is kind of maybe sound corny, there's a guy who calls himself the Batman, the New York Batman or something like that. He's on YouTube as well. And he actually goes out and does good deeds. And it kind of reminded me of this guy. He goes around to fundraisers, and he'll patrol the streets, and he'll do pedestrian, he'll help pedestrians cross the road or the elderly or whatever, right? And when I saw Robert Pattinson amongst the people doing that, it kind of reminded me of that, which was kind of strange because that is something we've never seen. Batman was unattainable. He's not among us. He's in the ether. He's in the shadows, right? This movie changes that. Wayne, I'd give it an 85%. Well, you know what? Everybody on Rotten Tomatoes agrees with you. It's got an 85 right now, I think, on Rotten Tomatoes. Exactly, Dr. Death. He needs to put on his real mask and be Bruce for a while, just like Riddler called out. Yeah, and that was pretty awesome too. The Batman is who Bruce Wayne is. Bruce Wayne died with his parents that night in the alley, right? The Riddler says this, right? Bruce Wayne died in that alley, and the Batman is your persona. That's who you are. Bruce Wayne is the mask. That is pretty cool. That being said, I needed to see more of a connection between him and Alfred. I think that would have when Alfred got hurt, I think that would have driven it home that he is still, even though he's Batman, he's a human being. That whole Arkham thing too, I thought it would be kind of neat if they mentioned how his mother was insane and that she was at Arkham and her family was the Arkhams, and that all was, I think that's all dispelled in the video games as well too. But wouldn't it be interesting if we saw Bruce at Arkham too, looking for help, because he himself, post-traumatic stress syndrome, depression, all that kind of stuff. He was like a poster child for all those things. Wouldn't he have gone through the system? Wouldn't he have talked to a psychiatrist to deal with his emotions and what have you? Seeing some of that would have been pretty cool. I don't need to see an origin story of him again with the parents being shot, but maybe show us how the young Bruce Wayne, in a real world setting, how would a kid have dealt with that? Where would Alfred have sent him to deal with having witnessed his parents be murdered right in front of him? We've never seen that. He would have went to psychiatrists. He would have seen shrinks and counselors. He would have dealt with that. How did he deal with it as a kid in school, dealing with other students, his friends, that sort of, we've never seen that side of it. I think if we would have seen that side of it, we would have been more on Pattinson's version's side. We would have, again, like I said, we would have grown to like him. And I did not give a shit about him. That's the problem. Think about the movies that you love so much. The ones that really hit. Like, look at a movie like Gladiator, right? Or a movie like Rocky, or Star Wars. And you think of those protagonists, Luke Skywalker, Rocky Balboa, Maximus. At the end, when Maximus dies, you don't want him to die. You don't want him, you cry. You don't want him to die. Even a movie like Titanic, as romantic as it is and all that, right? At the end of Titanic, when Jack, the music comes on, he floats away and she loses him. They just had this whirlwind romance that lasted, 2 days? And in those 2 days, she falls in love with him. We fall in love with him as an audience. We fall in love with both of them. We want that love to endure. So when he dies, it's like, oh, frig, man. You leave that, you get punched in the gut when you leave Titanic. And yes, all those people die. It's a tragic. We all know it's a tragedy, but that love is the love that fails because of that tragedy is also a tragedy in and of itself, right? So that is why loving these characters is so important. And I just did not get that. And if you look at the Marvels, the MCU, we've grown to love these characters. Look at someone like Tony Stark. Now, it's taken a long time to get there, but when Tony dies at the end of Endgame, it's pretty emotional, right? It's moving because we've been on this journey with him for so many years. But if you think back to Iron Man, the first Iron Man film, the Jon Favreau film, when that's over, we're digging that dude. We like Tony Stark, and we like the way that Robert Downey Jr. has portrayed him. We've gotten to know him and like him, and now we're on his side, man. He's a cocky son of a gun. Of course he is. He's a bit of an a-hole, right? But we like him. We like that he's that way. In this movie, we just get this brooding dude who I don't like. I don't like him. I don't care. I want to like him, though. I want to like Bruce. I want to like Batman, but I don't, and that's not good. Anyways, Rock City says, that's a problem with any iconic comic character movie. The producers want mass appeal and the directors want to get across their vision without compromise. Therein lies how movies can get screwed. Yeah, for sure. And look at the new Star Wars films. The reason that got screwed is because a bunch of people in suits got involved in the creative process where they have no right to be. Right? Yeah, so I agree with that. Brother Kev says, reintroduce Bane because I have his first appearance. Yeah, we want to make money. I think, you know what? When there's a point in this movie where Batman, I think, injects himself with adrenaline because Catwoman's going to get her butt kicked. And he gets up and it was green adrenaline. I thought Bane there for a second. Michael Strathmore says, yep, there was a scene left on the cutting room floor where, a la Silence of the Lambs, Batman engages the Joker at Arkham for insights into how the killer thinks. You know what? Now that would have been cool. That would have been pretty cool. Brother Kev, in the neo-noir state. Okay. Michael Strathmore, Reeves said he'll release the scene at some point. That would have been pretty cool, actually. That would have been pretty interesting to see. Like here, he's already dealt with the Joker. The Joker is somebody he's already encountered and he's already incarcerated, already put at Arkham. That is kind of neat. He's already dealt with. We haven't seen the story, but he's dealt with Joker and the Joker that Batman put him there. That is cool. That is really cool. I like that a lot. Guy McLeod. I like the dynamic between Alfred and Bruce, showed where they were at that time, and I appreciate how the relationship grew from then to now. I don't know, man. That their relationship was broken. You're not my father, he says to him. Okay, and you can see that Alfred was kind of hurt. And we've seen that before. I've seen that before. Where did I see that recently? You're not my father. Another movie. Oh, you see that like in Superman when Clark yells at Jonathan Kent. I've seen that in different movies, right? But in this, it didn't hit home. Had we seen their relationship at a good place, and then he says that, maybe I would have been a little more sympathetic towards Alfred. I don't know. Nicholas Parker. Which Batman do you like more, Pattinson's or Lego Batman? Yeah, Pattinson's. Wayne, we thought the same thing. That was Bane juice. Yeah, there you go. Bane juice, baby. Rock City, green adrenaline, I thought equaled Mirakuru. Interesting. Wayne, and I thought Joker was Two-Face at first. My son did too. He said, that's Two-Face, it's Two-Face. Actually, my nephew thought it was Two-Face, not my son. Guy McLeod. And Doc, remember in Nolan's first Batman, Bale briefly portrayed a very unsure Bruce when he first confronted Falcone. So I enjoyed this young fella Bruce. Yeah, I just, you know what? I think if I had to compare, if I had to pick one, Batman Begins or this movie, sorry, I'm hanging my hat with Christopher Nolan, guys. I'm hanging my hat with Christopher Nolan. I kind of like the way Pattinson appears better than Christian Bale. I like the way that Pattinson speaks, like just the way he talks over Christian Bale. I thought Christian Bale sounded ridiculous, but I prefer. I would sit down and watch. I could sit down and watch the Christopher Nolan. I could watch it right now, and I could watch it again tomorrow, and I'd enjoy watching it. I'd stay awake. I think if I were to go to the theater tonight and watch this movie again, I think I'd probably nod off. I will give this movie another shot when it's released on HBO. I will give it another shot and give it another watch, but I won't go spend 3 hours watching this again. I just won't. Nick Parker says, I want the Batman to whip out his bat shark repellent and spray it on a bunch of lawyers because we got to keep it real. Yeah. Lawyer repellent instead of shark repellent, right? Guy McLeod, they were strange because of Bruce's perception of how he saw Alfred. Agree with you on Nolan. How did he see, what's his perception of Alfred? You know what I mean, Guy? I didn't get enough of that. I didn't see that. Well, what's his perception? That he's like a overbearing guy who doesn't agree with his choices? I don't know. I want to see, Batman's not all there, right? He's not all there. Even the cop, this guy's crazy. You know, hey, Christopher Gordon, why are you hanging out with this guy? He's a whack job. You know, I get that. But if you're going to real world, like I said before, if a kid witnesses a 10-year-old kid sees his mom and dad gunned down in the streets, how are the social workers going to deal with this kid? How are the doctors going to deal with this kid? I want to see that. What drives him? Okay, we know the story of the bats and the fear and all. We know that from the comics, and we know that from every other iteration we've seen. But let's see some more. Let's see a young Bruce Wayne trying to deal with this, trying to find Bruce Wayne again, and then not being able to find Bruce Wayne. And that Batman is the only way he can cope with this tragedy that he endured as a young kid. That's where I'm getting with this. It would have been nice to see some of that, especially in a friggin' 3-hour movie where you could have probably cut a couple other things out that weren't maybe quite as necessary. I don't know. I still think the movie would have been better as a restricted film. Most of the time, a PG-13 film will do the trick. Look at the Joker, man. The Joker was $1 billion movie. It appealed to a very, it was, again, a very visceral, very dark movie that dealt with themes like mental illness and even classes and what have you. It was really, really good, man. And if I had a choice to watch the Joker or to watch the Batman, I'm watching Joker all day long as well. I left that movie moved. There were moments in that film. That's a great example. We talk about caring for a character. I cared about the Joker in that film, man. He's a guy who no one gives a crap about. He's looking for help. He's looking for help from the system. No one's going to help him. Doctors aren't helping him. The politicians aren't helping him. He's got no friends, and the friends he has are just superficial friends, and they want to use him. And his mother's all messed up, and he thinks that she's used him too, and he's all messed up, and you feel for this guy, right? And even at the beginning when he gets hit when he's got the sign out and those kids beat the crap out of him in the alley, you feel bad for the guy, right? It's I left Joker really moved and upset. I felt so bad for the guy, In this film, I didn't feel anything, and that's a bad thing. Guy McLeod, the way that he was trying to be his father and he wasn't, just as the help. Then after he talked with Alfred about what Falcone did, I saw a change in his eyes, and I think we'll see that shift from there. You think that Bruce thinks of him as just a help? You really do? I don't know about that. I don't know, man. How could someone be that way? How could someone think of a man who basically raises you as just a help? I don't know. See, I didn't get that. I didn't get that from that guy. Then after he talked with Alfred about what Falcone did, I saw a change in his eyes, and I think we'll see. I think the fact that he almost died is what freaked him out, more so about his dad's dealings with Falcone. But again, I think we needed some more moments between Bruce and Alfred. Even looking at Michael Caine's Alfred with Christopher Nolan's movies, he didn't spend a hell of a lot of time with Christian Bale's character, but there was still that connection, the care. It came across more to me. Just more time was needed there. That's all. Other than that, I love both the actors. I just didn't think the writing between the two or the time that they spent with these two characters was enough, especially in a 3-hour movie. Nick Parker says, make a movie where Alfred hires each and every one of Batman's rogues gallery because he knows Bruce can't cope with any other way. Yeah, he's doing it. He's bringing the rogues gallery to Bruce to make him function. That's pretty good. Brother Kev, the movie The Joker should have been called... the movie The Joker should have been called... You mean it should have been called The Joker and not just Joker? I agree, if that's what you're saying. Guy McLeod, at that point... Oh, I see. Okay, Guy. Thanks, Brother Kev. This is how to act. This is how to act. I'm not sure I follow you, bud. Sorry, Brother Kev. Guy McLeod says, would have been nice to see more Alfred. I agree. I do too. Nice. I do like when directors bring back actors they've worked with. I like how Matt Reeves brought back Andy Serkis. You know, he worked with him in Planet of the Apes, and he was Caesar, as we all know. And I like that. I like how a lot of actors do. The Tarantino does that, and Spielberg does that, and Scorsese does. They all do that. They have a special spot in their heart for certain actors, and they bring them back to work in their movies. Okay, guys, you know what? We've been going for about an hour. I'm hungry. It's dinner time, and I want to eat. So you know what? It's time to give out. Let's go over to... Well, first of all, thanks very much for coming by and giving me your... I'm not sure. All right, let me go over to here. Let's go to the big screen. So let's see if I have a main screen. Yeah, I do. More room so I can show off the book. We're going to give this baby out to celebrate the Batman. Again, guys, this is available only to viewers from the United States and Canada. I'm not shipping this baby overseas. If you are overseas and you want to take part, if you happen to be, and you want to pay for the shipping, happy to send this book. Otherwise, please refrain from answering, and we'll keep this only for North America, okay? So I've got a couple of questions. Oh, my wife's calling me. Right in the middle of a show. Okay, I don't know what she wants. I'll have to answer that in a minute. All right. This first question, I'll take the first two people to answer this. We'll go to a final. And then I have one more question to ask those two people, okay? So here we go. I'm going to put this down for a second. I should have had a picture of this beside me, but I'm going to put this down for a sec. All right. The first question is... Let me bring up the chat again, because I need to see who answers it. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Get ready, guys. Get your Wikipedia ready. Here we go. Get ready. Bob Kane was a trainee animator in 1934 at which animation studio? I'll take the first two guys to get me the answer. We'll go into the final. I'll say it again. Bob Kane was a trainee animator at this animation studio in 1934. Name the studio. If you get that right, you, the first two people to get that right, will go into the final to win this comic book. And the next one's a little bit harder. Look at everybody. Everyone's running around checking their Google. Everyone's Googling it. Oh, there we are. We got it. Nicholas Parker And James, the real Hyperion, got it. Flesher Studios. Wayne, you came in third that time. You got to be faster. Flesher is right. Max Fletcher Studios. Ragman's in there now. He gets it. But as you can see, Nicholas Parker and the real Hyperion, which is James, they both got it now. So this next question is only for Nicholas Parker and James, the real Hyperion. The real Hyperion and Nicholas Parker, get ready. This is your final question. The first person to get these two answers right wins the comic book. I'm trying to think how I'm going to phrase this here. Bob Kane based Batman on a few things, but these two things in particular. One, he was influenced by a specific Hollywood actor's version of Zorro and a Renaissance painter's diagram of a flying machine. Name both the Hollywood actor and the Renaissance artist. There you go. Hard one. Okay, I'll repeat that again if I can come up with it again. Bob Kane based Batman on many things, but these two things in particular. He based Batman on a character performed by this Hollywood actor, name that actor, and a Renaissance artist's diagram of a flying machine, name that artist. So I need the name of that artist and the name of that actor. And this is for, again, this is between two people, Nicholas Parker and the real Hyperion. The first person to get it right will win this copy of Brave and the Bold 197. My live chat shows, don't say that. I got live chat going on right here, right now. And the first person to answer was Nicholas Parker, then the real Hyperion, then Wayne, then Ragman, then Bad Hombre, Brother Kev, Guy McLeod, and that was that. Let's see if anybody gets it. Oh, Nicholas Parker gets it. Da Vinci, Leonardo da Vinci is correct, and Douglas Fairbanks. That's right. Not Errol Flynn. Close, though. Close. So, Nicholas Parker, congratulations. You are the winner of this Brave and the Bold. Number 197. It's a nice, cool book to have in your collection. Nice high grade, 9.2 white pager. It does now belong to you, Nick Parker. What I need from you, sir, is I need you to send me your mailing address and all that stuff. So I want you to email me at info@thecomicdoctor.com. Make sure you do that. If you don't email me, I have to respond to you. I will get your address and I'll mail this book off to you pronto. I'm doing a shipment this week. I'll try to get it off to you this week. So that was close, James. You were very close. You had Errol Flynn and Da Vinci, but it was Da Vinci and Douglas Fairbanks. And even Brother Kev says Errol Flynn. Bad Hombre. Come on, Kevin. I got full name and spelled correctly. Others did not. Yeah, you're right. But I have to, you know what? It is what it is. Anyways, guys, listen. Holy monkey balls, Nicholas Parker. Congratulations, sir. Tell the world you won. You won a comic book, CGC graded comic book here at the Comic Doctors YouTube channel. And you know what, guys? I bought a whole bunch of pretty cool CGC slabs I'll be giving out throughout the next few weeks and months here on the channel. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the content, leave comments. Sometimes I'll use the comments to give out the prizes as well. I'll be doing that when I hit 1,500 subscribers. But again, yeah, you got to subscribe. You got to subscribe. Okay, guys? Listen, thank you so very much for being here. For this Batman review. It's fun to talk to you guys about this sort of thing. Again, I'd like to get some software going where I can bring someone else on here to talk with, to shoot the breeze back and forth, to argue with, to debate with. That's coming, guys. There's only so many hours in the day. As you know, I'm still trying to get on top of my backlog. I have finally put August behind me. The last books of August are pretty much done. Just finishing them off. We're into September. We have some October books. A little bit of news too for people with small orders. I am going to hammer those out almost in their entirety very, very soon. So people with small orders, going back to October, because I'm in the October range for the small orders. We decided, me and Charlo, we're gonna hammer those out and get those finished, pressed, and sent off to CGC pronto. And while we're doing that, we're still going to hammer out those big orders, but we want to nip those small orders in the bud. Listen, guys, thanks again for coming. If you haven't seen Batman yet, go out and see it. Come on, Bat Hombre. Come on, Michael. Spend the $20. Go to the theater. Have a good night. Sit there, enjoy this movie. Maybe you'll like it more than I did, and you can come on here at some point and talk to me about that. Also, another point of news, I did receive a whole bunch of supplies, comic book supplies. I'll be bringing them to the shop tomorrow. If you need comic book boxes, Silver Age bags, Silver Age boards, they'll be at the shop, available tomorrow. And if you are local, come by the shop and see me, 11 to 1 tomorrow. Otherwise, other than that, have a fantastic Friday night, a fantastic weekend. I'll see you probably on Sunday for a unboxing. I've got 2 boxes. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Have a great night. Bye for now.